Welcome to Watkins Glen in the TCR. Today we're going to be rocking the Honda Civic. While we didn't qualify for this race, we are starting off in a respectable position 15, and it can only go uphill from here to a certain degree. As we're heading down towards turn 1, things are looking actually pretty tame for a touring car race, especially in the first corner. Coming out the other side, getting overtaken by Moustache to the left hand side, tucking up behind Maxi Tangent to the right. Corner 2 is where all the drama starts to happen, and I'm not too sure what happens to this link up in front, as a little bit of contact with the Elantra, battles their front end off the track and with nowhere to go, and the ghoster system taking about an hour to work out that it'd be quite efficient to ghost the car. We end up going to the back of him. It is what it is. Came out the other side, exactly where we started again, position 15. Can't really grumble at that. We haven't got any lower, but let's try and work our way up. So behind Doddy in the Mercedes to our left hand side, getting a great overtake to a certain degree. It would have been a lot cleaner if contact wasn't engaged in a pretty much straight line. No problem. We do the undercut out the other side, and as we're coming down to this corner here, braking just before the 100 board, we took ourselves in nice and tight to that curb to avoid any impacts from behind. That's one position gained. Now, by the end of lap 1-ish, we are up to position 14. Trying to catch up to Moustache up in front, who has actually managed to get away by quite a good margin, 1.5 seconds. Thankfully, we do have a good bit of time behind us as well, almost a second away from the car behind, so a dive bomb from them or any form of contact that will cause any misery is going to be highly unlikely. There's a cone on the track. It's probably best not to hit the debris. It actually does damage your speed, and it's quite efficient at doing so. Peugeot actually at this race as well, which is great to see. Don't see Peugeots very often. They're not the quickest car, sadly. They do handle quite well. But we are going to make a move. A beautiful pass. Again, straight line. Look at that. No contact. Absolutely insane. As a brake for the 200 board, tucking nice and tight into that curb, giving space at both sides, kind of edging out a little bit wide, kind of bullying the way through to a certain degree, just making it that we secure this position. Again, went out to P13. Moustache at 0.9 seconds ahead. They do seem to have a good bit of slipstream for the cars in front, but 3 wide going into the bus stop is never going to end well, and let's see what happens. Braking at the ambulance, Moustache backs out, and actually everybody pretty much lines up in what I would say a respectful position. With order lining up has slowed them down quite somewhat. We're going to use that to our advantage, gain a position for Moustache, but I think they might be able to claim it back here as we come down for this corner here. Kind of, when you're not on the racing line there, it is very, very slippy, and you lose so much momentum. It's really hard to actually get a good bit of grip as you rotate around the corner. But no harm, no foul. Plenty of time to make a move again. Peugeot, not too sure what they were doing, but they ended up going to the wall, get us in, forgetting to brake and turn. Or they were just really distracted by the beautiful livery on this car, and it just totally dazed them. Who knows? But Moustache is making a move on Alex up in front in the lovely blue Honda Civic. Red Bull livery. Okay, so a word of warning, Red Bull, as we all know, can be a bit... Yeah, see how going onto the grass to kind of chop your nose off seemed to be the way to go. Sadly, we just didn't get the momentum coming out of that corner we needed to be able to take that position. But edging our way through and kind of poking our nose around does put the other car off their game somewhat. And by the looks of it, they're definitely overly defending to a certain degree, so that could play in our favour further down the line. We just need to make sure that we can get past it's Schnegel behind P14. We don't want to introduce anybody else into the battling. Okay, what's going on here? Do you know what? We're going to get out of the way. And that was the worst mistake made. Yep. 2.3 seconds for a legal pass. Carried so much momentum coming out of the corner. Couldn't turn right. Not able to do so. Braking definitely could do so. But left, using that momentum, was a safe idea, but again, 2.3 second penalty. Don't think it was a worth it idea. I think, do you know what, it would have just been better to brake, lose all that momentum we once had, and away we go. What a beautiful move through the bus stop, avoiding the crash. Thankfully, the penalty system said, you know what, that 2.3 seconds was quite rough. You're not going to get any more after that. And we got away with just a slap on the wrist. Flash, don't do that again. Yeah, I think 2.3 seconds was pretty brutal. I understand it. You know, it was technically an illegal pass. But, yeah, poor choice was made, really, in that situation. Lesson learned. Now, we are on position 10. Sadly, we also have to bear in mind, blocking this lovely penalty, that any position gained, we also have to add 2.3 seconds onto that to make sure we secure that position. Now, with position 11 behind, being only 1.8 seconds away, not ideal. Actually caught up a little bit of time there. We are 2.2 seconds away from Moustache up in front, so we have 2 laps to go to try and create a better lead from the car behind and actually secure the position 10. It's kind of crazy to think, really, how competitive, wow, very aggressive this race really is. As by the end of lap 3 for the start of lap 4, we're only in position 10. But there has been so much chaos for this race alone. You'd expect to be a bit further up the field, if you get what I mean. I don't know. Either way, can't really go into too much. We're going to be braking at the 200 board here, down the 3rd gear. Over the curb we go, and out the other side. Try and break away from Itchnagel behind. We do not need any more deduction when we actually need to set a bit better pace to catch up to Moustache up in front. While they are 2.3 seconds ahead, and they also have the power of the slipstream from the cars up front, it's also going to create, like we had earlier, a bit of a bottleneck as they try and battle with each other. It is a short length race, so aggression is usually quite high in short races here in Forza Motorsport. And there's one victim right there in the Audi at the other side of the bus stop. It usually happens before the bus stop, not after it, but that is another position gain. So the way it's looking at the minute is if we keep this momentum going and not break away from that car behind, we are going to fall into position 10. Not ideal, but again, they still have one more lap after this to go. Anything can happen. Considering the way we've seen this race be up to now, anybody can meet the wall at quite an alarming rate. Nothing is off the table here. Just after the 200 board, there is that flag. That's a great point of reference to brake for this corner here. Down the 2nd gear, come out the other side. Fast Phil Frog 76 is only 1.4 seconds ahead. Again, another Honda Civic at this track. Great choice of car. While Moustache has managed to also claim a position from them. So hopefully, in the next few corners, we'll be able to pass Fast Phil Frog 76 up in front, which looks like it may well be the case. We're closing in very quickly on them. Not only that, as we approach the start and finish line, we have a great bit of slipstream to help us vacuum in as we enter towards turn 1. Braking at the 200 board here, nicely done through that curb section there. Out the other side we go, right up Fastville Frog. Thing is, this might not actually work in our favour here, because we're going to have slipstream, we're going to have power, we're going to be quicker, but we may get caught up behind them as we go through the S's. Hopefully that's not really the case. Looks like Fastville Frog may defend throughout the straight. Looks like they are. That's not a problem. We might actually be able to outbrake him here. Contact has been made in the straight line, but they did brake early, and we managed to secure that position to a certain degree. Yeah, you know, we're still rocking that penalty, which is really quite harsh still. 2.3 seconds is a lot to find away from a car you just overtaken. Moustache 1.7 seconds ahead. Braking here. Now you can see the difference as soon as you're in the darker part of the track, which is obviously the grippier part of the track, how much faster you can go through that section there. If you're not on that part of the track, it is really, really slow. So bear that in mind. Sometimes the overtake is just not worth it at that point in time on this track. Coming up the hill, 1.2 seconds away from Moustache up in front, 1.4 seconds away from Fast Phil Frog. We are in position 8. Not too long to go. As you can see, there's quite the bottleneck of cars up in front. There is a Fartcan MG, and I'm not too sure who the one furthest ahead is. Looks like an Elantra. There we go. As the trio of cars are going to really heavily battle towards the end of this race. You know, Fastville Frog being 2 seconds away. Can we gain another 0.3 of a second away from that car? Hopefully not get held up by this trio of cars. We're through this corner now. Power, power, power. Beautifully done. Wildly racing there is going to try and close that door for some unknown reason at the end of this race. But what a finish that was. Did we actually gain enough time away from Fast Phil Frog? Nah, we didn't. Never mind though, because we have another chance here. As we head over to Mugello, things play out very, very differently here. And it was just a follow-on race from Watkins Glen. Now, don't get me wrong, we do, luckily enough, start off in a far better position. I mean, P5 is a great place to start a race. Not only that, not many people qualified either, so I'm not too sure why, but we're usually put up towards the front of the pack. Now, this purple Mercedes to the right side plays a huge part in what is about to occur in a moment. Now, clearly see a lot of contact has been made in a straight line. But thanks to their exuberant driving and the crash behind, we got bumped up a few places. We're now in podium, P3, with a great part of gap from the cars behind. Now, this track is quite brutal on tyres. We are running mediums, and it comes very close to the end that these mediums just about don't last. But more on that as we get towards the end of the race. Thing is, Luke up in front rocking the MG is a very, very good driver. And I don't mean that in a sense of the fastest driver in the world or, you know, the most efficient at the track. The way they drive and the racecraft is very fair and very strategic. You know, they're very good at defending, they're very good at making that car wide. So overtaking Luke up in front is going to be quite difficult. Not only that, I think the MG and this car are quite well matched. Problem we have at the moment is we are under pressure from the fart can to our right hand side here. A little bit of contact has been made, and that also becomes a bit of a factor in this race where we do have multiple amounts of contact with the fart can to our left. Now, none of that was actual purposeful contact, you know, it was just either mistakes or I had a weird, like, frame stuttering issue, and suddenly I was in the back of him. I was like, oh, that was, whoops, sorry. But you'll see that as we go on to lap 2 and 3. Thankfully though, with a bit of fair racing again from the fart can behind us, we're still on the podium position. Sadly, with our battling, we have lost a little bit of pace from Luke up ahead. Although we are 0.8 seconds away, the fart can is in a perfect position to make that lunge shot and take that position. So we're going to have to defend ourselves all the way down this extremely long straight. Going to keep over to the right side, make them take the longer line around turn 1. You see Luke up ahead, also taking as wide of entry as they can, but securing that inside line has secured our position. A little bit of a kiss on the rear of my car towards the front of their bumper. Again, no harm, no foul. They are still on the track. We've also, thankfully, the slipstream working to our benefit, we have caught up to Luke up ahead. 5 Gooses off on the way, doing their own thing, you know, they're just keeping consistent and actually breaking away from our shenanigans back here. You know what a better idea is going to be? That fart can is quicker than the Civic. Now, that fart can may well be that little bit... What was that? See what I mean about the contact? Weird. Heading back to what I was trying to say. They may well be a little bit more aggressive. And that little bit more aggressiveness is going to play in our favour, because we'll be able to follow them through. That's the idea here. See what I mean? It's like I got vacuumed in to the back of their car. Like, it was just beautiful, and I couldn't help it. I was braking. And yeah, Mugello, late in the evening, probably not the smartest of ideas. I'm probably on a server miles away and just, you know, a bit ping related stuff. So I do apologise about that pop 4ZO. There's probably an actual way of saying that. It just doesn't work in my head. Anyway, we have lost a little bit of time from said fart can. Fart can has also caught up to MG. Fart can is going to use the MG slipstream to be quicker. We are not close enough to be able to make this work, and that's the sad reality of what is going on at the moment. They are breaking away, and you see the disappointment in the face of the driver right there, just realizing that unless we can make it in the corners, we're going to struggle to keep pace. Now, by the looks of it, the MG and the Falcon are heavily battling. Very fair, very clean, but battling nonetheless. That is going to slow them both down. Like I say, Luke is really good at defending. He knows exactly where to put that car. Credit where credit is due. It's absolute brilliant racing, considering what happened at Watkins Glen. You know, this was like the whole other end of the field, you know? It was one of those races you rarely get that are just absolutely brilliant. Brilliant to watch from our position at the moment as them two cars are heavily battling and we're just sitting back watching it develop. You can see how the Falcon is trying to look a way through, and you can see how the MG is just planting that car just in the right place, and it has actually slowed them down. So it begs the question, really, is this plan or strategy going to work where we're going to let the Falcon try and, you know, push their way through to a certain degree and we follow? Is this going to work out in our favour? And it's really lap 3 or 5 going to be hard to answer, because that Veloster has been really trying to overtake the MG, and while we should have been closer to be able to follow the MG through, it's just not worked out in their favour yet. Thing is, maybe tyres will work in our favour here. Not everybody knows that Mugello, especially the full circuit, is actually very harsh on tyres. Now, we are lap 3 or 5, we only have 70% of our front tyres remaining. 50% is when minor wear kicks in. So, we only have 20% of our tyres remaining and 2 laps to go. Are we going to be able to make it in one piece? If other drivers are on soft tyres, their tyres are going to start fading now. Now, you can see the Falcon aiming for it, shooting for it, and securing that position. And we was not close enough to be able to fire out. So, that is not a good sign. You never know, though. The MG may have not took the news of losing that position quite well, and the battle may start commencing again. Or we may be able to sneak a position from the MG whilst they're trying to take the position away from the Veloster. You never know, but the Veloster is actually setting quite a bit of time away, so yeah. May not well be the case. Either way, we're right up behind the MG, 0.4 seconds away. We are under no pressure from the cars behind. They are 5 seconds away, which is, do you know what? That is a massive saving grace right there. We have no pressure from the cars behind. Now, don't get me wrong, one mistake, one off track will thoroughly change that situation. 5 seconds is not a lot of time, but it does provide a bit of a saving grace to any form of pressure. Now, Mugello has weird curves. You saw as we went over the curve on the right side, again, the contact with the MG up in front, not by choice. You know, the curves, you don't go over them very well. It's like you click on them or stick on them and then you ride over them, and it really does upset the steering characteristics of the car. Something I should know by now, and it's a mistake I still make. You know, I ride a lot of curb, and Mugello is just one of those tracks that just not friendly for curbs on cars. At least we're 5.4 seconds away from the car behind, 0.3 seconds away from Moustache up in front. This final corner here is going to make or break it now. This is our 4th lap, one more lap after this to go. But if we can get a slingshot move on Luke here, we're in for a business. Let's go look at that move right there. We are side by side as we're going towards start and finish line to start our final lap. And do you know what? I'm going to swing it back over to the right, scrape the bumper a little bit, but I'm going to secure the defensive line as we enter towards turn 1. Do not want a slingshot move back upon us. Braking at the 100 board on the left side, down in second gear, nice and tight into that curb, and accelerating out the other side. Position secured. Luke is now 0.6 seconds away. The Veloster in P2, 2 seconds away, catching up to whatever that car is. 5 Goose in position 1, 2.3 seconds ahead. Actually caught up to him alarmingly quickly. Interesting. And the Falcon has overtaken him. Very interesting. I can only presume they may well be on soft tyres. Thus, the soft tyres are now dead because our tyres are almost onto minor wear. Yeah, I can only say they're definitely on soft tyres and they're absolutely goose. So 5 Goose has goose tyres. You can only laugh at that. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Just need to make sure we get a pass done here. Make sure they don't fire upon us. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case. They braked early. Fair enough. Thank you ever so much, Five Goose. Lovely bit of racing there. Sadly, the tyres gave out and you just didn't have enough lead to secure position 2. I wonder if they'll keep it away from Luke in P4. Now, being 2.2 seconds away from position 1, not too worried about. Actually, took a little bit longer to also overtake Luke than expected, so you know, it did hold us back to a certain degree. I mean, Luke is almost 5 seconds away now. May well be on soft tyres themselves, and ourselves being on medium are really benefiting on his final lap. So yeah, it's funny how the tables turned for this one race alone, considering what we had at Watkins Glen, but what a brilliant race it was. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time. Goodbye.